Okay, up first, game developers are getting fed up with their boss's AI initiatives. This is an article written by Marine Frankenstein, something like that, I don't know. But a survey of video game developers released Tuesday indicates that a growing number of them fear artificial intelligence will have a negative impact on the industry as a whole. I can't say that I blame them. The fear, of course, or the threat, of course, is that AI development will simply take over game development.
Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
The article goes on to say, the video game industry has been in a troubled place for the past year, with studio closures and job security at the forefront of developer concerns. Increasing layoffs with seemingly no end paint a bleak picture for devs, while companies are busy pumping money into AI initiatives. According to a new report from the organizers of the Game Developers Conference, 52% of devs surveyed said they worked at companies that were using generative AI on their games. Okay, I suppose this was inevitable. You know, when ChatGPT came out, it was inevitable that students at different levels, high school, college, or whatever, would begin to use it in crafting their term papers. And AI technology for art has impacted, of course, much of the art that you see online anymore. It was I just think it's inevitable that this was going to happen in the video game industry. The developers themselves, some 30% of the developers who responded to the survey said they felt negatively about AI. That's kind of what you would expect to feel about someone or something that is probably going to take your job. Only 13% believed AI was having a positive impact on games, down from 21% in 2024. Now here's an interesting comment. No matter how you put it, generative AI isn't a great replacement for real people, and quality is going to be damaged, another developer wrote. There are two sides to that coin, of course. Real people can sometimes be a pain.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And sometimes stand in the way of getting things done, especially when they're all concerned about, well, I'll just call it other issues, as opposed to going into any great detail. AI doesn't have that. AI doesn't suffer from those restrictions. I'm not coming down on the side of the Terminator or anything. I think it's just inevitable. I think it is just inevitable that AI in the gaming industry will eventually take over a sizable percentage of the work that is done.
Hey, sexy mama. Want to kill all humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans.
And to sort of highlight that issue, take a look at the next article, which is 1 in 10 video game developers were laid off in 2024. Now that's not all because of AI. Part of that was just the economy. Every fracking industry just about in the economy over the last 4 years has suffered immensely, and part of that was by design, but I digress. But still, following 2024's massive wave of layoffs across the video game industry, 1 in 10 developers say they were among those cut from AAA studios and indie outlets alike. According to the Game Developers Conference newly released 2025 State of the Game Industry report, 11% of the 3,000 developers surveyed said they were laid off over the past 12 months. The top reason companies have given their employees for layoffs is restructuring, which is a general term for reorganizing a business to make it more profitable. Restructuring is something that has been going on ever since there have been businesses, right? You have to cut out a certain number of people and realign in order to keep the company profitable. That's nothing new. AI is probably just sort of enhancing that, or speeding the process along, I suppose might be a good way to put it. And it goes on to say that also the classic no reason given for any of their company layoffs was also offered to 19% of developers. That's sort of a metaphor. No reason given, that's sort of a metaphor for we don't like you.
No, I don't like you.
We don't like your office politics and whatever, man. The general purpose firing reason. Video game companies have enacted layoffs in 2024, including Microsoft, Sony Interactive, PlayStation, Riot Games, Take-Two Interactive, EA, Epic Games, Ubisoft, and more. No word on whether or not Return of Reckoning has suffered from all this, but they tend to keep that stuff close to the vest. Developers were also asked to share what they feel is responsible for the rise in layoffs, the report says. While many of them recognize that revenue and market shifts were part of the problem, they place most of the blame on specific issues like COVID-era overexpansion, rising production costs, declining player interest, unrealistic expectations for the next big hit, and poor leadership and mismanagement. I want to talk about that for just a moment before I move on. In prior podcasts, I have talked about other games that have been published, millions of dollars spent on them, and they were published only to go just crash and burn within weeks of being put out.
Please tell me you're done.
Oh, we're just getting started, dude.
Millions of dollars just wasted because the games themselves were more interested in promoting woke ideology as opposed to offering players something that they really wanted to play, an actual game worth playing. COVID-era overexpansion. For a while during the lockdowns, a lot of people had nothing else to, or, well, I won't say nothing, but they had more time. They had more time to play games, and some companies reacted to that in the sense of, okay, we're seeing increased sales or increased time spent on playing games, so let's expand. Not taking into account that someday all the madness would be over and people would go back to work and go back to school. Rising production costs, as I said, the last 4 years have had some fairly devastating impact on the U.S. economy and the economy worldwide. Declining player interest, again, that's primarily due to the content that was being specified and stressed in some of the games that have come out. The content that players really don't want, and unrealistic expectations for the next big hit. All of that sort of adds up to the expected. Again, none of this is unexpected. That's what kind of bothers me sometimes when I look into the gaming industry and what some people are doing, what some companies are doing, some of the comments that are made, the stances that are taken. It's like, do any of these people bother to think and ask themselves the question, what is the result of this going to be? If we put this game out to promote woke ideology, if we make these comments about the gamers at large, if we tell gamers, if you don't like our content, don't watch, what do you expect to happen, man? And they don't just seem to ask that question ever. Okay, so none of this surprises me, but I did want to talk about it for a couple minutes. Okay, moving on. Speaking of Alyssa Mercante, she's back in the news. And this article here, gaming documentary featuring Alyssa Mercante fails to reach $400 on GoFundMe as gamers rally around Smash JT Legal Defense Fund. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details about what happened here. I have talked about it before, although it's been a while. But Alyssa Mercante just can't seem to stay out of trouble.
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
And most of it is self-inflicted, I do believe. Here on the article goes on to say the gaming industry has become a battleground for cultural and political ideologies. Boy, is that the truth. With a stark divide forming between the virtue-signaling woke crowd.
I take responsibility.
I stand against hate.
And everyday gamers exhausted by constant political messaging and finger-wagging. I put the video up and I actually spent some time talking about it. Of Alyssa Mercante's little speech that she gave, talking about how people, if they disagree with her, can come fight her. You know, that was pretty cool. That was a fun episode to do. Anyway, the community's response to two recent events: the crowdfunding campaign of Gaming While Black, a documentary featuring former Kotaku editor Alyssa Mercante, and Mercante's contentious lawsuit against YouTuber Smash JT. Illustrates the widening chasm between these groups and what's become known of as the gaming culture war. Well, hopefully, like it everywhere else, the gaming culture war will soon be coming to an end. Although it's been characterized by the fact that neither side is willing to take prisoners.
Buenos dias, children.
Now, as for the documentary, it says here, Mercante herself can be seen in the film's trailer, giving the old classic, if you don't like it, don't buy it slogan that her and her ilk often spout until gamers don't support DEI-driven games.
There's plenty of games out there for you to buy. If you don't like this, don't buy it.
The rhetoric then often becomes a hyper-conservative backlash or bigotry, cause games like Concord or Dragon Age the Veilguard to fail. The project has raised a mere $370 out of a $5,000 GoFundMe goal as of this writing. Well, that's as it should be. Now, there's an X post down here where a guy named Grums says she must be very upset that Smash JT has raised over $60,000 defending against her BS lawsuit. I talked about that once before, and how Mercante made the claim that she had received death threats. I mean, all that's in a prior podcast, which is up on my YouTube page, if anyone's interested. My main point here is that Mercante keeps... Well, she is the poster child, I'll put it that way. She is the poster child for the woke ideology that is helping to destroy the gaming industry, or at least which plagues the gaming industry. I don't think it's ever really going to be destroyed, of course, because things have a way of self-correcting over time. But she is the poster child, and so I wanted to put her poster up one more time. All right, and moving on to the next topic. McDonald's is now giving out Pokemon cards again. Oh man, I wanted to put something a little more lighthearted in here, I suppose, and this will make my son happy, man. We haven't eaten it in McDonald's in some time, ever since they opened a new Burger King around here. But we may have to go just to get some Pokemon cards. So I wanted everyone to be aware that you can now go to get a Happy Meal at McDonald's and perhaps find your favorite Pokemon character. Okay, moving on. Diablo 4 Season of Witchcraft, the official gameplay trailer. Now, the trailer that's running is actually for the original Diablo 4, which came out in 2023 sometime, I think. And Season of Witchcraft was released on the 21st of this year. So, you know, I've played Diablo 4, and I suppose the problem I've had with these type games is these crawl games, which is what I call them, because there may be a better term, but I used to play games like this back on the Nintendo 64, where you had this sort of overhead, over-the-shoulder kind of view, and then just fought whatever came into the screen around you. And the screen was always centered. You know, I mean, it's not that I have a lot against those type of games, but it is true that I don't enjoy them as much as other formats. You can see the gameplay here of what I'm talking about. And the whole sort of crawl thing, I find, even though the graphics are great, you know, I just don't find it that engaging anymore. So, but I didn't want to talk about it because my son's been playing this game, Diablo 4, and Elon Musk plays it. So, you know, what are you going to do? All right, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, I haven't played this game at all, and I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I want to. And the only reason I'm putting it up here is because I did a movie review for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which was the most recent and hopefully the last, I'm sure the last Harrison Ford Indiana Jones movie. And that movie review got over 5,000 views. It was for my channel, that's pretty good. And it was a terrible movie. And yeah, I'm conflating genres, I know, movies and games. But if you look at the gameplay here, which is what this is footage from the game itself, you'll find that basically it's just a reenactment. At least this particular portion. It's just a reenactment of the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's where this particular game scene comes in, is Indiana Jones going through the jungle to the cave where he goes in, and those are the two guys that were in the movie with him, both of whom, you know, do not last the opening scene here. And you play the game, he goes in, and he finds the golden idol thing, and everything happens just exactly as it did in the movie, except they add in a few things like this, moving a tree trunk or a fallen tree. So, yeah, it looks good. I mean, that's what you would expect. You know, you would expect it to look good for this type of game, especially one based on a franchise that is as beloved as Indiana Jones. However, is that alone enough for me to play the game? I think not. So if you're a fan, have at it, you know. And but I think that this has the appearance of just another cash grab, you know, milking another cash cow, as it were. So that alone kind of makes me want to not waste my time. All right, moving on to the next segment. Now, I've talked about this movie before on a number of occasions, Captain America Brave New World, and some of the issues that it's had with reshoots, and then more reshoots followed by yet more reshoots, because every time they put it up in front of a test audience, the test audience does a collective sigh and gets up and walks out of the theater. So there's no telling how much money. Well, let me rephrase that. Some people know exactly how much money this movie has cost. The people who don't really know how much this movie has cost is people like us, the viewing audience. But rumor is that it's up to like $400 million at least now that they've spent on this. And what they really needed to do is to be successful. What they really needed to do is to draw in a crowd to make a little money. And we're only it premieres on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So that's just, a couple weeks. And what they really needed was no more controversy, to just get it out and hopefully let the audience decide. Well, that didn't exactly work out for them.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations.
Now, I want to talk about this for a minute because, as a veteran, and I don't know Anthony Mackie, I don't know what kind of guy he really is. It's easier to get an insight into Hollywood stars and starlets nowadays because they all seem to publish on Twitch or X or Twitter or TikTok or, whatever venues out there. And so you do get an insight into their personal opinions. And that's how I look at this. This is an insight into who Anthony Mackie really is. It is an insight into his opinion. Yeah, he was in Rome, and maybe he said this because, he wanted the Roman people to think that he was... who the fuck knows, man? All I know is that it pisses me off because I'm tired. I'm just tired of people who have made millions of dollars become famous worldwide using the system that exists in America and then always trashing that system.
This country and this city has brought me to.
And then always always complaining about what victims they are.
What does it mean to be a woman in film?
It means it's really hard. And if you're a woman of color, then it's really, really hard.
And how they never can get a fair shake. Yeah, really? What do you spend your millions on, man? Okay, so, you won the genetic lottery like Scarlett Johansson, or you're a good actor and you played a role to perfection like Chris Evans. What do you really have to complain about? Why do you have to go out in front of an audience just a couple weeks before your movie's going to come out and trash America? How do you think that really elevates your image in the world? That's what I don't understand. What is it about making that comment that makes you believe that is going to elevate your image? That's going to cause more people to look up to you. That's going to cause more people to think, wow, what an enlightened individual this man truly is. No, that was just stupid. That was just dumbass shit to put it in the vernacular of the little, backwater town I grew up in. It's almost unbelievable. You've got a movie coming out and it has suffered through such controversy already, and then you're going to go out and just, shoot yourself in the foot. Have a Rachel Zegler moment.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I guess maybe this all rings a little bit hollow because, I've talked about this movie so much going back well over a year now that I've been talking about this film. I mean, the first time I talked about it was back when it was entitled Captain America New World Order. And then they changed that, and I did a video about, about the change and why I thought they were going to change it and all that. So I've got to go see it. I've got to go see it just so I can come back and either confirm or deny what my thoughts about it were. I've said all along that I think it's going to be, that at this point it's just a patchwork Frankenstein of a movie, and it's going to be mediocre at best. It'll probably be better than the Marvels, because I can't see anything being worse. But somewhere along the, I think the effectiveness and the worth of this movie is going to be somewhere along the line of Black Panther 2, which, talk about exploitation, oh my god. Alright, so, these guys who've starred in these Marvel movies, they have helped put one of the best parts of my childhood up on the screen for all the world to see. And that's exactly what I told my two boys back when I took them to see Captain America Civil War, that when we go see this movie, boys, I want you to try to remember that this is one of the best parts of my childhood up on the screen for you to watch. And that's gone. That feeling is gone, because what is being put up on the screen now, for the most part, is no longer the best of Marvel as it existed when I was younger. Now it's just Captain America, who doesn't believe in America. Captain America, who talks about what some of the best qualities of Americans can be: duty, honor, country, all those things that you sign up for, and yet somehow he wants to differentiate between the two. Okay, Captain America's a guy who keeps his word, but it ain't got shit to do with America. Make it make sense. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Avengers!